that joined us. And she would like to also make her presentation of USDA as well. Thank you for joining us. So, good.
Alicia Hudson, I'm the Farm Service Agency CED as a County Executive Director. And we're going to speak of just the NAP program, which is fruits and vegetables. They're not insured through the regular crop insurance program, so we offer they call it non-insured disaster assistance program, where you can insure your fruits and vegetables in case there's a disaster, whether it be hurricane, floods, any natural disaster. Underserved producers can get their fees waived, so they do not pay for the coverage. They have to fill out a form number 860, and that form will either tell you that they're socially disadvantaged, whether it be race, or they can be a limited resource, that their income is over a certain amount. I think it's like 177,000 for 2 years, and they can you have 10 years. Beginning farmers, if they've been beginning farming and they're under the 10 years, we can waive that fee. So it really will not cost them anything. They do have to certify the acreage with us, and they have to turn in their production. Again, all of this is commercial fruits and vegetables. It's not just the somebody with a home garden. They've got to actually be marketing these fruits and vegetables. So we do have that to offer. We do have a conservation reserve program, which is the CRP, which is trees that you can put in anywhere from 10 to 15 years. ALCDC makes the determination whether the land is eligible, and then we make the rest of the determinations through the TSP, and then we do the eligibility stuff. You have to own the land for at least 1 year. And if you owned it 1 year and you have planting from 12 to 17, if you got 4 out of those 6 years of planting, you're eligible. It has to be planted to a crop. And that makes the land eligible. Then they'll make the determination of what practice it would be, whether it would be a wetland practice, or most of them are 28 continuous, which sometimes it can go the whole field. Most of the time it's just the 180 feet around the field. They'll make that determination. And we also have the RPLC program. If you have farm base acres on your farm, you can participate in those forms. Let's see. Price support. If you if you have a crop planted, you can put it in the loan. We call it the mall program, and you can put that crop in the loan. When you put it in the loan, then it's ours until you pay it back. So we have to collateral on the loan. Which you have 10 months to market it. If you have marketed in 10 months, it's ours. Most people get it marketed usually in 9 months, and we repay that. Let's see. One of the biggest things is we keep up acreage. Every farm certifies their acreage, and that way they have history of the acreage on the farms. And let's see. Our election, our COC election, is made up of 4 different areas. The track cuts it here. We have the highway here, so you've got the north is LLA 1. This is 2, and this is 3. We have a person that represents each LLA. They're nominated, this election, people vote, and then they become the only way you can be eligible for that LLA is you have to live in it. We do have problems trying to get people to participate. When it comes to election, they think, oh, what am I going to be involved in? Where you're involved in programs. They act on all the programs that have to be acted on. If you're signing up at RPLC, they have to say that's okay, that there's nothing wrong with that. Loans, they have to make sure everything's going good with loans. That, they would have to sign the NAP application. Let's see. It's made up mainly with conservation, the RPLC, NAP. Compliance, which would be your acreage certifications.
Like to open up for discussion. So, any questions that anyone may have online or present? Now's the time to get them answered.
You can talk about the actual program, which is good. Well, how do you get kids, young kids interested in being confident involved in that? And we've done a lot of communities because we do have extension offices as well. And so it's mainly, working with the youth, working with the schools. A lot of our high schools and our career technical programs actually have the agriculture programs in a lot of those career technical schools. So the programs are there. So it starts with exposure. It starts with, introducing them to the area of agriculture, the food industry, nutrition, things of that sort, because agriculture is so big. And so that's mainly how we are working to get the kids exposed in the school systems. And then, like I said, with a lot of our extension programs, our extension is our outreach. And so they do a lot of what we're doing here today. That's what our extension agents, our extension coordinators, we have extension educators that actually go out into the communities and provide the information to the communities. And so that's how it's getting out there when you don't necessarily have a child who may grow up from an agricultural background. I know it kind of has an actual program, it has to. But once they finish the program, I think it's 2 years. What if it's still not interesting, but to me, it sounds like a pretty good thing. I don't think we had it when I was a student. So to continue to keep them interested in it outside of the school after those 2 years, what do you need to do as a community?
It's the exposure,
Just
the programs that you're actually, having. Just for an example, when I worked at St. Gabriel Mercy Center in Mount Light, and so I served as the executive director of that organization. And so one of the things, even as a nonprofit, we were heavily involved in the community. And so partnerships, collaborations. And so I partnered with a lot of other organizations like Delta Fresh Foods. It's a organization within Bolivar County that actually work with you. And so they do the fresh markets and they do all of that. And so in partnering with them in St. Gabriel having food pantry, we allowed the students, the youth that were part of that particular program to even come and service the clients. So it kind of extends beyond that. It extended with St. Gabriel partnering with Alcorn Demonstration Farm in Mount Bayou to establish a community garden at St. Gabriel, whereby we were no longer just obtaining foods from USDA, Mississippi Food Network out of Jackson. We're now able to offer our clients with fresh fruits and vegetables and produce.
I want to start a new program, so I'm looking for other activities. I said, just normal stuff. I want to be able to really open their minds and, you know, these looks of outside these. How do I go about doing that? How do I need to talk with and start partnering with other people to bring that same program into my community? For the youth. And I guess, I mean, because we live in a, we got, okay, I went to school in Whitney County, but I'm still from a smaller town, so we got a lot of small towns in this area, and it's really not a lot of exposure to. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to partner with someone else to bring the exposure. Because community garden, I thought about doing it a lot. My parents do a garden every year. My uncles, I auntie, them, all of them do a garden every year. So I don't go to the store during the summer and get my pumpkins. I just go to past the house. You get what I want. It is cheap. So I was like, if we could do a community garden and get the kids involved, where do I need to start? Well, the local 4-H usually has a lot of programs. You don't have 4-H. Now we're encouraged on way. There's no 4-H. So I'm just thinking, where do I need to start? I'm trying to see because like I said, I was part of Mississippi State because a lot of our extension offices, we're partners, we're housed together.
But they don't have an extension.
And they don't
That is located here more.
Yeah.
You are in here.
It will.
If you will check them, I think their number is 326-8939, and
We
then
had a respect that the print office could be in part of this, you know, this biggest, this issue. So part of, half of this equipment, half of this, no.
Something another has one.
So I would have to partner with both of them.
I don't think it would matter what you do as far as county lines. Participation in any county with 4-H is open to anyone, from my understanding, right? Now, I know the one in Facebook, another county this city, my son participated in a lot of the 4-H activities they had. You know, the shooting sports, I mean, they had it all, you just have to want to go and participate.
Oh, I just. And also about the project, we have youth loans up to $5,000. And they can go up to 7 years also. And the eligibility for those is not like our regular loans, they're pretty easy as long as you have a project and it cash flows. So how do, so to build it up with have a cash flow, what do I need to do? Just keep out with the partnering. Well, the inputs have to be more than output or vice versa.
Let me suggest this to you, and I guess this is going to be for all of the resource people here. If you have a number of youth in your area, and you know that there is a disparity, as you see, a gap between what you all have been able to have access to in services or resources. It's the one, have your group meeting. If you're having a group meeting, I'd be glad to come back if you're already having a group. But I would just taking out for it, but you know, with end of the year, we have a youth program also, called Youth Enterprise and Careers in Agriculture and Entrepreneurship. Like there's a group of them, we're in 2 states now, we have some over in Tennessee and some of our staff and all our youth over there. And they're dealing with a partner we work with in Shelby County, Tennessee, is urban program, urban farm. And it's like a urban farm training center. I think it's basically what they call it, the urban farm training center. One of the first stop at the point of exposure, as I say, to working with youth is just getting that first step. All one has beyond that, they have a demonstration farm. It is to take the youth to the farm. Set up a schedule, just like we're doing in Shelby County, and we have our organization that on the farm. We have a farm, we have, it's in the city too as well. But it's located on roughly 300 acre farm, livestock production, based on row crop production. And we used to do a lot of vegetable, crop production as well, in the integrated farm program with vegetable. But if you have identified these youth, how many youth you have, and the base point for exposure, that point of lack of exposure, understanding agriculture and opportunities, for that. We've been doing a Zoom meeting, but a virtual meeting, if you have a group of youth and you can set it up. I will, Mr. Lofton and some other staff, to talk to them about agriculture, and I would definitely, if we were going to set that up, so Mississippi, Dr. Young would be my main partner that would be on that particular virtual meeting with us, I know, and her staff. Now, I'm gonna come back to that, and we talk about some of the, again, where we have these gaps in the boards and disparities. I gave reference to technology and drones, but we also have some gaps of board and dealing with technology, what some of us take as, okay, well, everybody has a computer, well, not so, in rural communities. Well, everybody has access to internet. Well, not everybody. It's definitely that's not the thing. I listen to that for same time, but you go on, you put it up on the website, you go on our website, and look about program services. I said, yeah, okay. That ain't gonna happen. Okay. A lot of cases, particularly when you talk about opportunities and resources, how to access those resources. You tell me, and I'm a person here, may not have a computer, I don't have a cell phone. They don't have a computer, and have not dealt with that process before, and I'm a new and beginning farmer within that 10-year range of a beginning farmer, and have not done that before, then said, okay, but there is a possible barrier there for me, and that barrier has maybe been invisible for a period of time, but I see it now. I really know what the barrier, and I better understand why I'm not getting services I hear everybody talking about all the time. Okay, but that's why, and Dr. Young gave reference to the outreach and what they do. I know they do have an outreach program through their program department, both in the field, people that work in the field, and they provide TA systems with application about it. So they also provide that technical systems, and we do the same thing. As a part of our outreach, we have intake. We have intake applications that's back on the table there now. Once we identify the individual, then we just identify hard copy. We'll do it by phone, we'll start a format. And then if they have access to the technology or internet, then we'll have a Zoom session with them. We'll have create a link and do a Zoom with both the office operation and the FSA staff and the client along with us as we work through the process. Okay. And I know Austin does the same thing as well. So the technical outreach is there, and even when you go through the process, a lot of things have been said, today. I'm going to talk about the NAP, I said that can deal with NAP, that's, you mitigate your risk factor in dealing with NAP. Now, I know she said commercial, commercial just to be pretty, how you define commercial, and that can be a broad range when you talk about commercial. Now, some things that I have just recently came out that deals with FSA, and one of their programs on the assistance part of the grant program out of Jacob Market. So it is for the past, I think, 2 years, 3 years, I can't think of the name of the program right now, but it's one that recently announced out of Washington. You're eligible for that program on the market, and it could be up to $1,000 over a 2 year, I think it's 2 year, 3 year period of time on dealing with the market. That's on the program side. Now with FSA, but y'all believe that, and you can actually sign up for this will be coming in. Recently announced that you can sign up for that both on the grant on the grant program side for producers, individuals. I think I may have sent that to you yesterday, Larry, or the day before yesterday. But this one recently came up, but this is on the program program side. Another thing, I don't know if FSA is working with that. The State Department of Agriculture, I strongly encourage you to have a discussion with the State Department of Agriculture in Arkansas now, and certain other states as well. One of the market opportunities is the local food bank, where the producers, you can be producing, and you know where your food pantry is. You can sign up as a supplier to the food bank, and the delivery point is the food pantry. And that's a part of the local food supply, which is something I think that FSA will support in this lending program. If you're producing vegetables, if you are also participating in a marketing program that addresses local food supply and where they have food deserts. In fact, I know that is as a part of USDA initiative on local food supply. And this recent announcement just came out on the program side also. That's part of it. But locally, food pantry being on, I don't know if all corners working in with that not now. But I know some organizations are doing it, some producers are doing it. Large commercial producers and value processors, they supply food banks. They're supplying food banks a market down there that they're paid. Local producers should be paid also as well. The first one that came out, and I'll have to check to see if Mississippi signed up for it or part of it. The payments were being made through the Department of Human Services. So your application signed for it, which is through the Department of Human Services in this state, Arkansas now. We'd have to check to see how it's working in Mississippi and working with the food pantries. Local youth, and we gotta go back to FSA. You talk about, she said input, output, basis. If you well, how much money you put in, how much money you're investing against your return. Okay, so you put in that $50,000 on the loan side, of your capital input side, then your revenue income product produce should generate over $50,000 on the profit side. Otherwise, just breaking even $50,000. And she gave reference to on the cash flow basis of that. Again, your cash flow basis, and she said, well, you got a 7-year period of time, you got a 12-month period of time. Now, tell me you got 7 months, you got 7 years, and you got 12 months. Now your 7-year payment in that $50,000 could be a breakout point in how you're able to have a cash flow, because if it's $20,000 in capital investment for equipment, that's one primary example for equipment. You got $20,000 and you're paying $3,000, a year over that period of time. And then you got another $30,000 that's going to be an operating expense for seed, fuel, got other operating expenses, the labor costs, say be certain maintenance, equipment maintenance, things that make, let's say you got $30,000 there, you got $20,000 over a 7-year period of time, and all that as an example. So if that is $3,000, or $4,000, whichever the dollar amount may be over that 7-year period of time, I'll probably develop it, use time to say both, or both pages, okay? But if it was just a $3,000 example, you had $3,000 an example when you're calculating payment, with a 7-year period of time, it won't be, that'll be, more than that, that's 21,000. That's so it's not 3,000. It's less than that, okay? So 2,000 plus $100. That means you're gonna pay $30,000, your operating expense money back, and then 2,000 less than $3,000 payment over that 7-year period of time, okay? So that's gonna give you roughly some $33,000 out of that $50,000 you borrowed that you have to pay back, okay? Just to say 33,000. And your revenue income from your sales and what you raise in crop sold is 50,000. Well, obviously you have a pretty good cash flow. All right, ladies?
Right, but you can just get an annual. We have people that just get an annual. They don't need any equipment, they don't need any supplies, and vice versa. We have people that just want to buy a tractor. They have their inputs. But when they want the money to borrow a tractor, we still have to make sure they will have enough money to pay their annual expenses. If you file your taxes and we use your Schedule F, we'll use your amount. If not, we'll use county averages or state averages. So we have, sometimes cattle usually seems to be the worst. They try to not pay taxes, so they up their expenses. Sometimes that can hurt them if they're trying to apply for a loan, because we have to use what you put for your taxes. And your average is $700 per head versus the county average of 400 a head. More than likely, it's not going to cash flow. And we have to use your taxes if you've been filing Schedule F.
I'm sure first you get started from.
If it's your first year, we'll use county average.
So if you just started, your first time going in, you don't have a Schedule F, as part of the tax reports, then you use county averages on, if you're dealing in, and most of your average acre income, crop income on vegetables, you can get that through the extensive service. And all one has an extensive service program. So when Alcorn University, their extension division, if you're putting together your farm plan, the first year going in, you get, say, an operating loan, and you say, how do I project my revenue? What my income is going to be against what, my investment, what the loan amount is going to be, how much I need to operate with. The extension, and you can go like Mike. Mike, he's excellent. He does it all the time. But extension service has those county averages on crops. If it's sweet potatoes, tomatoes, whatever, they would have those county averages. And based on what the county average is, they also would have what the average market price is as well. And that's just projecting what the average production is off a half acre to less than a half acre, time what the dollar amount is, on a be it per bushel or per pound basis, it's projecting the revenue on a particular crop enterprise. And I say that because if it's the first year within that 10-year, 10-year, I'm back to the capital plan, that's 7 years. Within that 10-year time period, as a beginning farmer, county averages would be it. Otherwise, if you look for a 3-year tax return, and you say, well, yeah, I've been farming for less than 10 years, but I've been farming 5 years, but they're going to say, well, bring me 3 of those 5-year tax returns.
And also, if you don't have your yields, we'll use county average yields. But if if you get a loan with us, we're gonna expect you to turn your yields in next year. If you try to get another operating loan, we'll have to have your yields from last year. If it was a disaster year, we can substitute the county average. Most of the time, there's always a disaster, either a drought or flood or some kind of weather related. So we have people who have low yields, we can substitute the county average yields.
To ask FSA this question, on the program side and on the loan side, do y'all trust records with your producers when they've dealt with NAP? And so they come in and sign up X amount of acres that they're going to be producing investment crop. With the loan side, they're coming back in, it's the same, don't have a schedule yet. But they have been farming and they have been taking out NAP insurance. Do y'all process the program side back with the farm loan side?
No, it's in policy, I would have to look it up. If you have income farming, you're supposed to do a schedule there. I would have to look up the reference of legal part of that. And I didn't go about filing the taxes. I'll have to lie about it. How it was worded.
I was curious about that, on the. So this new program that just came out with FSA, that they did the press release on here recently, you're not aware of that, people coming in to sign up for those down, for the grant of the
Have grants, we have a lot of people that call on the loan side saying they want a grant to start a farm. We don't have any grants. The rural development has grants.
Right, you all have just the financial assistance. I think NRCS said financial assistance now too, they don't call it, they call it financial assistance. Our terminology, the definition, basically, you don't pay about it.
No, you don't have to pay anything back. Some of our practices or enhancements, it might be over the cost share or it might be under the cost share. So we just have that conversation about that cost sheet I talked about and tell them if they want to do this or not. Hey, you're gonna be out of this is X amount of dollars, you might we'll assist you on this amount of dollars. So that's how it goes. We don't do 100% cost sharing, or some practices and enhancement we do, some we don't.
On FSA, and again, I call it financial again, because you do have the conservation reserve program on the program side. That's why I say again, financial assistance, so you can put it into it, you get the program payments. Like, NRCS has program payments, they make a determination on the land when it goes into that program, so they get the financial assistance while they're in there.
We make the payment. But we do cost share on the planting of the trees.
That was the other part of the study too, and again, I do say grant, and I would say again, I would say program, program side. But
We don't know anything grant.
no, I know that's just what NRCS switched over to say financial system. You all still say program payments, not financial systems, and maybe the next farm bill will all be the same. I don't know. And then USDA ruled on the said grant, but but you all cost share for. If it's in the conservation reserve program, then you all do the cost share for the grasses, the grass, the trees, or whatever they decide.
What's the planting of cost share portion?
Okay, so they were radios, the grass.
There is some money, it's not just gonna cover it all.
Right. They're paying so much annually to go after that, for that.
Whatever those sold times, the reproductive sold times, is what figure what your payments are payment for it. They'll take the area that you're gonna put in CRP and they look at the three predominant sold times. That's how they come up with with the value.
I want to, one of this conversation, hope, for those that's listening and those that are here, on the FSA, NRCS, and I know you all work together, particularly on the program side. And NRCS and again, they have abundance of resources now, particularly under the Inflation Reduction Act. But with NRCS, in order for you to receive the benefit of the financial assistance on the programs you offer, and say they are a beginning farmer and they have access to some land that doesn't have a farm number, they have to go first to the program, right, the program side. So you were talking about those individuals, those that may have, they may have large gardens now. So when I was growing up, we had a garden, we had a foot party patch, and then we had the fields for all the time and the corn and everything else that we something raised. But then we had a foot patch, and we didn't like the field to be raised, lots of vegetable crops in. So individuals that may have what you're calling gardens now, that have had a history of doing that, then they could now get those identified as farmers. And be
That's farm for the loans.
right, so for the long term. So now you asking about we talking about the loan program upside and all these resources and how you can get those resources. Those individuals, if they have, and I know in a lot of areas, people are, they're growing vegetables, they're doing direct to consumer marketing, where they're selling directly to individuals. Some may be selling at farmers markets and things of that nature. Record keeping is going to become key if you move forward and identifying for farm and getting financing. But what you can do, those individuals that you're giving reference to, and they may have usually been working with you. And I heard you use the terminology gardens. And those large gardens need to get a farm number to get any of these resources. They have to get a farm number. And I just wanted to bring that back as a part of the agency that are here. And that comes back to Farm Service Agency. And I'm gonna ask you to tell a little bit more about that process. Okay, well.
We learned something, and I really appreciate now.
Okay. But anyway, in particular for those that are online, FSA gives the farm number. Would you just mention that?
If it's not already in a farm, you would have to bring in your deed to the land so that we would know where it is drawn off. And then once we get the acreage drawn off, we can set up a farm. But we just don't go and just draw an area and say, okay, this is a farm. Because see, when you put a farm in, you're putting an operator, you put an owner,
Right.
and all of that. So that's where the deed comes in. You know who owns that.
Now, is that deed control of the land now? Because if well, for instance, I own land. I own land myself, and I'm a little family trust, and I lease this land out to individuals with a description of the property, and the farm numbers, and with this case, the farm number. But say I had some of my land, I didn't have a farm number on it, and I still lease it to individuals, didn't have a farm number, and I used my the description of the property from my tax payment record, which that's an example. But it's a legitimate lease by the owner, and it's a 7-year lease.
Lease is fine. We usually will look for a deed. Don't have the tax record. Most of the time, the tax record is going to reference a deed. The book and page of deeds. But to set up a farm, you have to have. So the owner has to go in there. So you've got an operator and an owner. And that could be different. Operators, whoever's working on it.
But I know the operators are definitely would be different than serving the landowner, but I'm just saying, I do know you have to show control of the land, that's one. The lease agreement can demonstrate the control of that land by the, from the actual owner, okay, as a notarized lease agreement. So, and I give it to them for a 7-year, now, most of them just do it, but another 7 years because the date compliance, with most preliminary. And if the operator came back to me and told me they wanted my deed, then I'm gonna, that's an issue with the operator, because I'm not gonna let it have a deed.
It's our public record. You can go over there and get a copy of anybody did you.
Okay, so if restriction exists, then, so then the operator still got to go to the,
Still got.
they have to go,
You cannot do anything. It's
No.
gonna sit you up a track and that.
no, but I'm saying that, so the operator, if I'm the operator and I come in and I have a lease. And I want a farm number, because this one doesn't have a farm number, just pick the property, then I have to go before that to get a copy of that owner's deed. On the,
You see, all we have is a lease between two people. We don't know if that's the owner or not. Because we don't have that farm loaded. I mean, it'd be like, me writing you a lease, and you not owning the land, so we can't use that, we have to have.
I understand, I was gonna come back to another issue where it comes in most cases with FSA and USDA. That in certain cases, that individuals have issued a lease. And they are interest holders of the land. But it's an air property situation. So it's my father's land. But
We have that before, but you're still gonna have to go back and we're gonna have to have something on that.
which means then I would have to have my fourth decree administrative authorization sent to you. You know, become a complicated process, it's something there.
It's just,
Then I said that to say this, there can be a lot involved. And because I have my partner with Alcorn State University here with me now, and how she worked with the extension program also, these outreach individuals. I mean, everything you're saying, we find it in almost, I mean, it's in all states, right? And it has to do with air property, the fact that the air property part is a lot of it is air property. And the lease, control of the land, whether they are authorized administrator by way of the court, the petition for the property, not petition, but where they have actually probated the property and you have the court decree administrative authority for that property. It takes a lot.
it does.
You also see there's been a challenge with the urban farmers at all. That we start to move forward, working more with urban farmers. A lot of people have these 3 acres of land, 2 acres of land in the city, and people are operating and they've got to get farming on that. And then you end up in air property because John Doe has been decent to them, but all residents on the moment.
And that I don't know specifically, like I said, that's with mainly the outreach area. And so, it's mainly I'm with academics, student services. So that particular question, but I do know that there have been, some issues, and that's why a lot of our educator specialists are doing more programmatic activities and events that's around this particular topic, because they are, encountering a lot of that. I know we have actually an event that's going on now through extension, where they're trying to provide more resources and information, to the community and things of that sort. We actually have an agribusiness center where we, have staff specifically that works with the farmers that do the loans and do all of that as well. So we just have you know, although we're a university, we also have the different areas where we provide the many different outreach services to, you know, our clients and our farmers and things of that sort, so. But specifically to answer that question, I can't specifically answer it, but I do know that there are some issues that.
But FSA is seeing quite a bit of that now for the air quality, they got, getting that proof back to them.
It used to be worse. It used to be, there was no rules for air property before, and it was just, they were out of luck on those air property, what, just in the past 10 years, 15 years.
Some of it's been cleaned up, but you're always gonna have that it's never been in a farm. Don't have a set farm. I'm planting fruits and vegetables over here in this acre of land. First thing we have to do is locate that acre of land and then we want to know who owns this thing. Just like anybody. You come in our office and you want your ownership changed, we have to have that copy with you.
Mentioned lots of farming applications fail. I'm just wondering, what's the primary reason?
Most of it is cash flow. Now, she usually runs the credit reports for us. And those credit reports have not just farm stuff, but the non-farm stuff. So, you know, that goes into your cash flow, your loans, your credit cards, your auto loans, student loans, all that goes in your balance sheet and your income and all that. And that just really gets a lot of people. We don't look at the credit score, but we have to put every payment that you have, either as a current or non-current. So like a car payment, you have a $500 a month car payment. We'll put that in as like a non-current. But if something is due within a year, we'll put it as current. You owe somebody, a bank, $2,000 due within 12 months, we'll put it as current. And sometimes people just, I guess, borrow more than they have money.
I'm gonna piggyback on this kind. You said a lot of the applications don't get as long approval. One of the reasons she mentioned early on, when you apply for a loan, be prepared when you're applying. Already have your plan in place and some numbers already generated, so the process will flow easy. A lot of times they come in and they have 30 days from the date of the initial application. And when we begin to write them and say we need A, we need B, we need C, they get discouraged. And then after 30 days, then we send them a second notification that we're in need of these things we asked you 30 days ago. You have 15 additional days. And when you get to that last letter and after those 15 days and you don't provide that information, that application is withdrawn. Then you have to start all over again. And a lot of people get discouraged at that point. So in the initial, right, during the initial process, be prepared, already have your plan in place. You know, it might not be the right plan, but you'll have an idea what the loan officers can begin to work with you and get discouraged after that first 30 days, your process will go fairly easy. Yeah.
And I have one other question for Mr. Coleman. What are the requirements for wetland reserve east? Can you discuss that? Yes, what are some of the requirements to obtain a wetland reserve easement? First of all, it would be eligibility. And you know, have your records struck with FSA. Then you come in and do one of the application that I showed you. But also, all we would need is a deed from you and your map from the FSA. And then that, we don't particularly handle it in the field office, it goes to a wetland team. The team will come out, do surveys, and then they'll give you quotes for say it's eligible or not. Yes, sir, about the soil type, the plants, and things like that. So they come out and do an evaluation, and then they'll say if we can offer this land, this contract. Yes, sir. But all we do is take the deed, the application, and your map and send it on to the wetland team. That's all we do. Yes, sir.
We have clients who, seem like year after year after year, they try to grow crops in wetland areas. Of course, it doesn't happen,
Yes.
and they've never been able to produce a lot of areas of their property.
Yes.
So I've been thinking a lot about the wetland reserve easement, maybe be beneficial to some of those growers.
Because I don't quote me right now, but for cropland, because we do have a list in our office, I can bring it on the land use and what they will offer each acre. And I'm not sure right now, but I'm thinking for cropland, that's just one example, is 2,800 per acre. And so there'll be a one-time big lump sum, but you have a option of doing a 15 to 30-year lease. I mean, with the government, you still own it, but government has the rights on it that you cannot do anything on. Yes, sir.
What's that to say? This is regarding to eligibility not having a debt right. The federal government. So. The Inflation Reduction Act. Lots of problems both on the guarantee side and on the direct loan side. Now, on the guarantee side, under 2006, that act, they didn't necessarily, which is interesting, they didn't have a debt write-off. But if you were able to show where you were economically distressed farm operator, for 5 years ago, 5 years back, or 3 to 5 years back, that if you were economically distressed farmer, you had a guaranteed loan and you had to get the money from somewhere else to pay care. Yes, right. If it came from somewhere else, if your money came from somewhere else 5 years ago, and you didn't get a debt write-off, but you got money from somewhere else, and you paid term, which you had nothing to stress. Then the government reimbursed that money. Well, up until I think was it January of this year, March of this year, but under 006, they were reimbursing, sending direct deposits to all the guarantee borrowers. A lot of money too. A lot of money was paid.
Just guarantee it was direct also.
No, I'm gonna get to the direct side of it. So, see, the rate works one way. On the guarantee works reimbursement. If you had used other revenue to pay term. So you stayed current, and you were eligible with the deferred lender to get another 90% guarantee loan. Okay, so they reimbursed you, but so you never had it. In other words, based on the terminology here, you haven't had a debt write-off.
Right. When it says debt write-off, that was before COVID, before the direct and guaranteed write-offs. That you didn't pay and we repossessed, whatever, that's what it's talking about. Not the COVID money, not the IRA money, not the cash flow assistance money.
But I debt write-off to be a write down. It's a write-off. One debt write down. So if you have a debt write down, it's a write-off. Although you have a recapture on over a particular period of time. But if I have $500,000, but matching for, say after that, have $400,000, and that is on the capital side and on the operating side, total together. It's $400,000. And now, in order for me to get another loan, okay, and have a private cash flow, I have to do $100,000 debt right now. So I mean, bring the debt down $100,000. And I get another loan. But the instructions in the matter for the debt right there.
Well, they've just started the restructuring back because COVID and IRA, they stopped all foreclosures, stopped all.
No, I'm saying, I'm gonna make it a time period for that, because that's the one that's creating ineligibility, the way you get debt right down. Through the restructuring process, say it's 20, we have clients who did with it from 2015 and 20, they had debt right down, not right off. And, they're still operating, but that debt right down, that was say 2014, makes them ineligible now to get a loan. Okay,
How they restructured, they run it through a program called e-dollars. And to get it to work for the borrower,
the system automatically breaks it down.
the system automatically does it. It may not write that. It may do a cash buyout where there's no way it's gonna work. We'll take market value buyout. So we'll take whatever you have and you'll just be free of the debt. They have it where it's extended.
That's mentioned that, so,
They, you take it where they extend it from 7 years to 15 years. If it would cash flow in 15 years, or they could skip a payment, like, okay, for 1 year, you don't have to pay anything. That's dependent,
yeah.
just depends on what the system, and we just put the numbers in, the system tells us what to do. And since I've been in farm loan, COVID's been around, so I have not had to deal with that. I've not had anybody that I've put through e-dollars, because I've only been on the loan side for 5 years. And I got through training right when COVID hit, so I have nothing that I guess it's gonna start before long, but
But anything under 006, on the debt write-off, it does not count for ineligibility, so that's why I just wanted to make sure that was.
but what you were saying about guaranteed, they did that for direct too. You have to have, first they did where if you were behind on your payment, they made your payment and they paid you one payment ahead. That was the first thing that they did. The second thing was the cash flow assistance. If you had to take money out of a retirement account or borrow money from a bank to make your FSA payment, whether it be guaranteed or direct, you had to turn in a balance sheet and you had to turn in either your loan information that you got somewhere else or proof that you pulled it out of your retirement.
Right.
And then we would reimburse you however many, if you had to have it for 2 payments, then we would do it for 2 payments.
If I pay it back.
With the direct, they did it first and then it went to the guaranteed side. I don't know if any of our guaranteed borrowers, we got it. Because we don't have many guaranteed borrowers.
Almost good, a great loan bar. That's good.
I think all these counties, what do we have, Sheena, maybe 5 or 6 guaranteed loans?
That's great. So yeah. Look at the base, that would be good research.
This year was probably the first year we've had a lot of guaranteed loans.
That's all.
What's
Okay, so I would just like to thank all of the panelists that do, it's been actually very, very informative. And we appreciate it with an added addition of the State University, which is very, very nice. We normally like to invite the mayor of the city that we're working in, having a meeting in, but unfortunately, that wasn't possible. This time because they're all training mission in Biloxi, Mississippi, what I understand. So we appreciate you joining, Seven, and representing all clients. We appreciate all the USDA partners and staff members here that's provided all this wonderful information. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Well, that's great things. That's very good.